Welcome to the Two Dudes Talk Music YouTube channel. I am the Reverend Raff.
We did it. We made it.
Because when a band's name starts being everywhere, it can be very easy to go like, okay, like.
Just because I know what it's like to feel left out and to feel like people are weird or mean to you, and so I never want to be that person. And I want.
This here is my good friend Kyle, aka the BeerBuddy.
Big opportunity. You guys must be stoked you're on the first day too, because you can just sort of shoot. Yeah, you can just relax.
Brian was sitting down with his our longtime friend and his former bandmate Meegs from Cold Chamber, and they were having coffee, and Brian was.
When those questions go, those hearty chuckles.
You know what that laughter says to me is like, people y'all don't even know what's coming. People just are gonna be minds are gonna be blown by that.
No, it will be a fucking banger.
What's going on, everybody? I am the Reverend Raff, joined once again by my good friend Kyle, aka the BeerBuddy.
What's going on, everybody?
We are the two dudes who talk music. We are back today with another podcast episode for your ear holes and your eyeballs if you're watching us over on YouTube.
Yeah.
Hello. Before we dive into that, we have plenty of videos coming out every week. We normally have a minimum of 6 videos, but sometimes you get 7 videos a week, sometimes even more if we're feeling really generous and we've just got a bunch of stuff that we want to get out there. You never know. But we've got 6 videos coming out each and every week, so if you enjoy our content, it would mean a lot if you could consider hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell. It helps to grow the channel, helps get the word out to more cool people like yourselves who really enjoy our content. And we do also have a Patreon. It is a couple of bucks a month. You get videos early and ad-free, so it just helps you get yourself get across it that little bit quicker. And also, if we have reaction videos that we do, sometimes the film clips have to be covered up or censored or blocked for whatever reason or another. So if that's the case, the uncensored ones are also over there as well. But the other thing that before we dive into here that I got to be talking to you guys about is I will be heading out to Nowhere Fest in Brisbane on June 14th. It's going to be around about my birthday weekend, so I'm going to be getting out there, having a bit of fun. Going to be interviewing a ton of the bands out there. So if you are a band and you're going to be playing at Nowhere Fest, make sure you come and say hi, because I want to talk to you a little bit, have a bit of an interview and have a chat. And if you're not a band and you just see me around, come up and say hi, give us a dab, give us a hello. It's lovely to see all you amazing people. We love it when you guys let us know how much you enjoy listening to our stuff. But this is Nowhere Fest. It's going to be at Amore Events in West End in Brisbane on June 14th. It's going to have Botulism, who are coming out all the way from Germany. You're going to be Dark Law, Anton Amasia, Bong Coffin, Oceans and Omens, T-Rex Autopsy, Plague Dweller, and that's just a taste. That's just a taste of the lineup. That's like,
and you get to see T-Rex.
And you get to see T-Rex. It's gonna be a killer day.
Yeah,
so many
back
cool
up with
bands.
the bloody man.
So many cool bands. So
you're
that's
gonna
be a
love
great
meeting
one.
the T-Rex
It's gonna
people.
Be a great day out. Make sure you go and get your tickets right now. We will try and pop a link down in the description for you guys. And you may have also noticed we've got a bit of a new logo that's been popping up on our content recently. The Hot and Heavy show. I'm doing a bit of sound work for those guys, helping them out, doing some of their little audio editing things for them. It is a radio show based in sort of Central Coast, New South Wales region on Great Lakes FM. Every Monday night, it's a 4-hour block, heavy music, great stuff. Tune in, give them a listen. They do stream it live on TikTok as well, so if you're not in that region to pick it up on the radio, you can still get the show on
That's
TikTok,
a great idea.
which is awesome. Hales, shout out to Hales who hosts that. Really, really rad lady. Really excited and really trying to push a lot of local bands. But mate, that's a lot. I know that was a lot.
Yeah.
So I know there's a lot to open with. But my brother, how are you doing? How's things been? How's yourself?
And I'm good. Just dropped the video for the Anti-Sapien lads. They were awesome bunch of dudes. It was so nice seeing them.
Yeah,
Sorry, it took a little bit longer than what I wanted, but these things happen. But yeah, other than that, man, just enjoying getting back out again. It was really fun getting back out and filming and doing that interview out and about. So yeah, getting ready to do Thrashville in June as well. So we got
Yeah.
something in Newcastle. So I'm actually trying to get in contact with them to see if the two dudes can go there. But I have been asked by a T-Rex autopsy to go out there already. So we'll see if we can double down on something there. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be, we're busy, man. We're
Yeah,
busy.
it's looking good. It's looking good. I mean, we kind of got, and look, if you're a band that wants to talk about your stuff, please feel free to drop us an email,
Yeah.
twodudestalkmusic@gmail.com. If you got something cool coming out that you want people to know about, reach out to us, okay? Submit. If you wanted to do a reaction to your stuff, send it through. We got a bunch of people sending stuff through for those. We'll promise we will get to them. Just takes a little longer than we might like sometimes because we've got to keep up with current stuff as well. And we also want to throw in some stuff that we just find interesting. So, but we do try and get to them. If we don't, please don't stress. If it's taken a while and you're concerned, you can always follow it up. But yeah, if you want to, if you're a band and you got something cool coming out, you want to come on the podcast, chat with us about that, yeah, reach out, twodudestalkmusic@gmail.com. We love it. And if you got a fucking gig, music festival coming up, and you want someone out there interviewing bands on the day, hey,
Hit us up.
we love doing that shit. Hit us up. We love doing that.
We're sick for it.
We are. We're absolutely crazy for it. Absolutely crazy for it.
Yeah.
It's a hectic time. But me, look, no, I've been pretty much over that head cold that I had. I don't know. Thankfully, it was just a head cold and not anything more severe than that, which is good. Because I don't like being sick for long. I don't like being out of action.
Who does? Who does?
I turn into a real miserable cunt, real sad sack when I'm like that. I just feel too sorry for myself, and and being single again, I got to take care of myself with it. I don't have anyone to baby me, so I got to, I got to do that.
No one cares when you get the man flu.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I've been doing all right. Went to went out to the Valley to see Death Clock the other week. I was really impressed by Freedom of Fear that opened the show. Killer band from Adelaide, really, really good. I believe they may have actually been recommended to us by one of our other Adelaide friends that we've had on in the past as well. So really, really cool stuff. Very, very impressive. I think I have to try and reach out to those guys and get them on the podcast because that was really good. Full disclosure, I was not the most impressed by the Death Clock show, and not because it was bad. And I know this is probably some people are probably going to be pissed with me for saying this, but like, the show was so precise that I may as well have been listening to the recordings. And, granted, full disclosure, I went in a bit of a bad mood. Like, doors were really, really late to open, so my feet were killing me. I was tired. I knew I had to be up early for work the next day, so I was sort of in show started later than it was supposed to. So I was not in the best mood, but I don't know. I expected, I guess, more of a performance. And I knew there'd be the animated element, and people are going to say, well, what did you expect? I expected at least a little bit of thing with the live performance,
100%.
And what I got was, he's got to look after, sort the dog out. He's sorting the dog out. But look, what I got was, and some people I know a lot of people loved it, and that's fine. I just think, for me, I like to see a performance. I like to see, and performance is just that, performance. Yeah. What I got was the animated stuff, obviously to a click track to keep it all synced up, but the musical performances and the vocal performance was so precise that, like I said, I may as well have just been sat at home watching the animations and the videos that way. I was effectively the same experience, which is, not what I was expecting, but my first time seeing him, so whatever, like, there was just not my thing. So I kind of left about halfway through the set, I heard just because I was, but, and that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
It's fair enough.
The performance is what it is. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna tell me that I'm an idiot for that, but yeah, no, we're gonna get into it here. So today's guest, it's a good one. It's really, really interesting. So we have a band with us today called Idle Ruin, and they were originally formed back in the COVID times. And then the main guy behind it moved over to Germany, was living in Berlin for a couple of years. kept the project rolling over there with some musos from that side of the world, and has recently returned to Australia and is going to be kicking things back off here and doing a bunch of cool stuff. So we're going to be taking the time to have a bit of a chat with Liam, who is the drummer and vocalist, which is like
that's insane.
hell of a job to do. But somehow he manages it, and it's real impressive too from what we've been listening to. So make sure you go and check him out.
There's no lacking on the drums.
Yeah, we'll have the links down in the thing there. And look, we're gonna get into this one with Liam from Idle Ruin. Let's check it out. What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and thank you very, very much to Liam from Idle Ruin for joining us today. You're just back in Australia, fresh off the boat, plane, but whatever. From spending like a year, 2 years or something in Germany, kicking ass over there.
In Berlin, yeah, it was 2 years in Berlin, and man, I got to say, different world over there. I've got something here actually. Whenever it'd be talking about beers, because I mean beer culture in Germany, the guys would be like, "Oh, Australia, do you drink Fosters?" I say, "No, mate, no, mate." But when I came just tonight, actually, when I was at the Bottle-O, so I got this for the podcast.
Oh, very nice.
So
very nice.
Bro.
Cheers, mate.
cheers, guys.
Dedication to the beer. Cheers. I just got water, so there you go.
So there we go.
Good on ya.
For all the German friends.
Far out.
So
what were you drinking over there? What was the whole firstly, what was the whole choice of moving over there for 2 years? Was that for the music or work or whatever that was? And what beers were you drinking over there?
Well, my partner and I, we'd always wanted to move overseas and live there for a while because, I mean, you live in Australia, it's cut off from the rest of the world. You got to go out and see things. And we chose Berlin because, I mean, right near the metal festivals, and she'd lived in Germany before. So we thought, right, let's do it. And we were there for 2 years. To answer your question about beer, I mean, beer is cheap over there.
Oh, yeah.
Go to the nearest convenience store and get yourself a bottle of Berliner Pilsner, or my favorite was Budweiser, not Budweiser, Budweiser, from Czech Republic, and get that for about €2.50 and drink it on the street. So it was amazing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I feel like a beer tour would be right up Kyle's alley.
Well, I don't know if I'll come home.
He's they call him the beer buddy for a reason.
Yeah, I do enjoy a drop.
Okay, so that's really cool. And so the scene. I mean, we've been fortunate enough to talk to a few European bands this year, and gotten a bit of a vibe on what some elements of the scene over there at least. But like, what was your experience with it in around Berlin and the areas you were visiting?
Well, Berlin reminds me a lot of Melbourne. Similar sort of vibe, similar sort of artistic culture, similar outlooks on certain things. Very, very punk mentality there as well. And they have a lot of these sort of squat houses that they have a lot of shows at. So that was cool. But I mean, because there are a lot of metalheads in Europe, there are a lot of metal festivals there, but I think there's this common misconception amongst a lot of Australians that once you've moved to Europe, you're more likely to attain an audience than Australia. I think it's just as difficult to get an audience there. I think it was even Riley from Desecrator who said that if you do your first European tour, you're probably going to come home feeling your expectations were not met. You'll probably feel better after you come home from your third European tour. So when I moved to Berlin, not a lot of people had heard of us. And our record label back in Australia, they'd fucked us over. So a lot of our European distribution of our album got held back until we put out the vinyl. So consequently, it was hard to convince event organizers at first to give us a show because they'd never heard of us. But like anything, networking and hustle is key. And once the event organizers saw that in us, that we knew how to promote a show and just how to get the word out, they trusted us and would offer us another.
Nice.
The other thing too that was interesting, I mean, because we have that crossover appeal, amongst the death and thrash metal crowds, we were pretty versatile in the sense that we could play different shows. So the first show that we did in Berlin was a thrash festival called Thrash Talk. And following that, we did a grindcore festival, and that just went off. That was amazing. It was at some punk squat in the center of Berlin. And we also did some supports with some death metal bands like Galvanizer and Malformed from Finland, and did a punk show in Liberec in Czech Republic. So we were actually able to play some pretty varied shows in that regard. So, in that regard. So
that's pretty cool. I mean,
that's awesome.
It's you know, I mean, this is one of the things, right? When you've got a band that can exist in a bit of that crossover space, that is straddling a couple of different genres, or subgenres, it's really it does help. It does open up more show opportunities, right?
Oh, we scream to the hills.
And you know, there's obviously variety at metal shows anyway. It's an important factor, I think. Like, I don't think anyone really, most people aren't really going to a show to see, 4 or 5 bands that are effectively like clones of one another. Unless it's, very, very specific thing, and there's going to be people that do like that. But
Glam It Out or something like that, you know what you're going to get for the day. You get a lot of
but even then, like, but I think, when you're straddling a couple of different spaces, it's fun to be able to go across those different types of shows. And maybe it's more of an Australian thing, though. I find that you tend to get variety at metal shows over here in terms of subgenres, whereas if it's a space like the US or perhaps in Europe where there's just so many more bands, I imagine it'd potentially be easier for a show to be a like pure thrash show or a pure death metal show, or that sort of thing. So once you kind of started getting shows, like what was the crowd reception like? Did people take to it? Did they give you any sort of feedback from their side about like it feeling different because you guys coming over from Australia and that sort of thing? Just what was the crowd response for once you started getting out there?
I think the first couple of shows like we played, I didn't think they knew we were living. Well, I was living in Berlin, and they thought we were touring Australian bands. So they got right into it. Like the show at Thrash Talk, we had some good bands on the lineup, like Grinpad from Netherlands and Zona from Switzerland.
Zona, we interviewed those guys.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. And so like I think we were the second band on the bill for that festival, and the crowd just went nuts, like circle pits, inflatable sharks.
Yes. That would imagine they're trying to make you feel at home.
Yeah, absolutely. And the grind fest that we played shortly after, again, we were the last band on the bill, and the crowd were already nicely warmed up, and that was with a band called Botulism from Berlin. Great band, check them out. They're coming here to Australia in a few months.
Yeah, they're playing Nowhere Fest up here, which we will be at. I'm going to be setting up a table out there, and going to be hoping to interview a bunch of bands. So I'll try and I'll have to try and add them to the list because that's so cool. There's like lots of little connections there. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go on.
Fully expect that. Again, I was a little concerned because I'm like, we're probably the least grindy sort of band that's playing, but like the crowd just went absolutely into it. They're like, and I think with all the banter I did between songs, they love the Aussie accent as well.
Oh, 100%.
I'd exaggerate it a little bit as well, because when you live in a foreign country like Berlin, you can't use Aussie slang. You can't. All they know is "G'day, mate," and that's it. But like if you say, "Oh, Bluestone the Crows," or "Struth, mate," or "Fair Dinkum," they're like, "What the hell is this man talking about?"
Yeah.
So
gibberish.
Now that's where you confuse them. You break out the "I'm not here to fuck spiders," and they're like,
exactly.
What is this? What is this spider fucking? Like,
How is this
And
even possible?
don't you have giant spiders back where you come from? So
Yeah,
how
and
do
we
you-
fuck
how do you
'em.
get
Yeah,
on
they're big
top of-
enough. They're big enough to fuck. That's
Big
what
enough to fuck.
So, well, that's something else I wanted to ask about as well, because you are the drummer and lead vocals.
That's correct.
How the fuck do you manage that?
Practice like anything. I mean,
With maximum effort.
maximum effort.
Yeah, that is some Deadpool shit.
Well, you know, when I started Idle Ruin, I considered maybe learning bass, but then I thought about that for about probably 2 minutes and thought, nah, I'll just stick to the instrument I already know and just learn vocals on top of that. And I've played drums for a bunch of different bands here in Brisbane in the past, and my way of remembering sections was if I knew the lyrics, I'd sing along sort of under my breath while I was playing. So that was my hook to all the sections. But like, oh yeah, this bit's coming, the chorus is coming. Just remembering that, and I've done backing vocals as a drummer for different bands as well. There was a band I used to play in called Malachite. We did a show, we did our album launch, and the singer, he bonged on until like 2 a.m. the following day. And we had to play another show in the Gold Coast the following night, and he lost his voice. So I was just like, give me a go. I'll this is going to sound like shit, but give me a go. Like, the show must go on. And surprisingly, I nailed it. So I thought, well, I mean, I do all the writing, like all the songwriting, and I know where my vocals are going to go. I know how to wrangle it myself. And the added benefit to that is, like, when you've got a guitarist and bass player out the front, not breaking for vocals, they're just headbanging. They're the stage presence. So I just leave all the stage presence to them. And added on top of all of that, one of my favorite Australian metal bands is Armored Angel. And have you heard of them?
I've not heard.
I've heard of them,
Okay,
but I've never heard.
90s death thrash band, and the vocalist was also the drummer. Like, he was the drummer, and I thought, well, shit, if he can do it, I can do it. So
okay,
it's not something that hasn't been done before, and I just thought, well, screw it, I'll do it.
Well, it's funny because it seems to be a lot of Aussies that seem to be doing it. I mean, you had Spiderbait doing it for a while. Like, you got yourself now. I actually went to a show out the Hugh Music Conservatorium, and there were a bunch of kids there, and one of the kids was a drummer doing the same thing. Did all this, was the lead vocalist on the whole thing, and mad props to him. Didn't miss a beat, and he's a young 16-year-old dude.
Trader from Germany as well, thrash band. The drummer is the vocalist, and you got
to have the
cardio. If you can do it, yeah, dude.
Absolutely. And hey, just if you think about it, right? Like, drummers are already one of the most in demand, band members, right?
Oh my gosh!
I have to imagine that bringing the ability to offer like a great vocal performance is on top of that is something that is like, fuck, all right, like that's going to put you in a very, very high stead. I mean, obviously you've got Idle Ruin, that's your thing that you're doing, but as a skill to have, it's like, it's incredible. You know, if you were to sort of look at joining something else, you've got, okay, cool, great. Yeah, you can do that on top of the kind of drumming that you're already doing, which is incredible stuff, by the way, like really, really impressive stuff. It's all about adding just more, was it more strings to your bow, basically, in terms of your skill set?
Or more limbs. Like another guy I was talking to who did drummer vocals as well, he just said, like, you're already using 4 limbs, so what's one more? And
she's
your voice.
Instead of headbanging.
Yeah.
But there are other side effects to it as well. Like, sometimes I have to limit my playing as well to accommodate my vocals. I can't do full on my Portnoy shit while I'm singing. So I do keep my drumming pretty simple to accommodate the vocals. And if there's a break in the vocals, I'll do some tech shit. But yeah, it's a trade-off, really.
But I think there's value to that because something that
It'd be a performance to watch.
Kyle and I have done so many, like lots of reactions to tons of different bands from all over the world. And
Nice.
something that we come across a lot is, this idea of, and it sounds like a cop out, but the whole, like, the less is more idea, and that pairing that with the concept of, okay, just because what you're doing isn't the most extreme technical stuff in that moment, it doesn't mean that you can't do it, because obviously you can, right? It's a matter of, okay, I'm doing something a bit more straightforward right now, but the skill to be able to still do that so tight and like to such a degree of precision is a whole other thing in and of itself. Too many people see with lots of instruments, right? Be it drums, bass, guitar, even vocals, they see all these really flashy, impressive things and they want to try and jump straight to that. They want to try and jump straight to the super intricate or super impressive, really technical, advanced things, right? Without building themselves that foundation of the rudiments, the key elements that you need to build everything else on top of. And it's so I think it's a great demonstration of when you are pulling back to do something a bit more simple, you're still doing it like extremely well, and that speaks to knowing when to do the different parts, knowing what to do when, and it also helps with some contrast, because then when you are doing something a lot more technical, it really stands out, and it's not to say that the stuff you're doing when you're not doing the hyper technical stuff is like the most basic shit ever. Like, obviously it's still extremely, it's fairly advanced stuff, but it's just a great demonstration of like balance and finding, pulling it back so that when you do go more extreme, it really stands out and it's much more, noticeable when you're doing something like that. And
you're insane. You're insane being able to do all that. You're fucking insane.
I love that. Like, I get this very deep and philosophical description of what I do, and then and from you, it's just like, you're insane. I love that.
Well, it's a yin and yang thing.
That's how we go. That's why we work so well.
I love that. No,
that's why we work so well together.
I appreciate it.
But that's it. Well, here's a question for you though. If the opportunity ever came up, would you take a back seat and let someone else drum? Or is this now it's become a part of the image of the band?
I think it has become a part of the image of the band, because there is that, I guess, the what the fuck factor when people see us live. And especially people who haven't seen us live before, they're like, where's the vocals coming from? Holy shit, it's coming from the drummer.
Yeah.
There is that. And it's definitely a talking point, as illustrated by now. But there have been a few times where I've considered, playing a show and just getting someone on the drums, maybe for that one-off or something. But no, I'm happy to just keep drumming away and doing the vocals as well. But it has been a nightmare for sound guys, because they're trying to mix my vocals and they're still getting a bit of snare in the mic. Yeah, so
if you had to, if you did have to surrender one of the two, which do you think you would pick?
I'd probably surrender the drums, because I know how the vocals must sound, and that's this just sort of egotistical frontman coming out, I guess.
I don't think it's egotistical at all. I mean,
no,
look, vocals and lyrics are such an essential part of a lot of music. Not all music, obviously, but and to you've been doing that for a while now with Idle Ruin, and I have no doubt that a lot of the songs and lyrics and themes and stuff are very, can be quite personal to you at times, and a lot of expression of yourself and your views and who you are. And handing that over to someone else is not necessarily going to be, wouldn't be an easy thing to hand over, I think. So I don't think it's egotistical at all to take that position.
No.
I mean, yeah, you are right. A lot of the lyrics I do write, and this is just a tangent, sort of not following what you're saying, but sort of just a sidestep. A lot of the lyrics I write, they're not I'm not very good at writing personal lyrics.
Mhm.
I do try to write lyrics more about any personal lyrics I write are in a way that's relatable to other people, and we write a lot of stuff about um, local folklore of Brisbane,
Okay.
Oh,
and we've there's a lot of true crime stories and a lot of ghost stories and a lot of campfire stories that I believe deserve to be shared with the world. And even the title of our album, The Fell Tyrant, is a reference to when Brisbane used to be a prison settlement. So like with the thematic element, I wouldn't have a problem with other people singing about it. But I think I'm very particular with how it is sung.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, I get you. Yep.
it's just
well, that's
if I
the
gave
thing.
that to some, a lot of musicians like to do things their own way, and I respect that. But when it comes to the vocals, I'll be like, nah, I'd rather do that myself.
No.
No.
Well, that's the thing.
100%.
I know. If you give me someone else's song, there's a 90% chance I'm going to try and at least incorporate it my way a little bit because
Exactly.
you're you and I, me, and you've given me the instrument now. Here's another question though: Would it
Sure.
has the consideration been to, or have you thought about maybe doing a lot of collaborations with some vocalists, especially ones that you might sort of be circulating and doing particular shows with often? Since you sort of have that ability to have that, I guess you could have that extra person up there.
Ah,
I
funny you
mean, it
say
makes
that.
things really interesting.
Yeah, funny you say that. We did have whenever we played Adelaide, we'd have Ben Jarvis, who sings the additional vocal on Erythema from the Malefactors EP. So, and he was living in Adelaide at the time. He's back here in Brisbane now, but like I used to play in a band with him called Decapitated Mum, and yeah, yeah, great name. But when COVID sort of separated people and locked people down in their respective locations, like he was visiting Adelaide at the time, and then the gates shut and he had to stay there, and the band ultimately broke up. But I said to him, "Look, we're doing a recording. How would you like to do a guestie?" And he agreed. And then every time we'd come down to Adelaide, we'd call him up and he'd do his vocal part, and it was always an Adelaide exclusive,
Yeah,
whenever we did that
nice.
song. So, but other vocalists, maybe like I haven't really considered that. It's
Yeah.
something I could consider. I've even floated the idea of having guests on our recordings. Like there was one guy I was chatting to when I was living in Berlin who wanted to do backing vocals on the next recording. I said, absolutely. I even floated the idea to a notable vocalist of a notable band. I'm not allowed to say.
Okay.
Um,
I like that.
if
I
you'd
always
like
like when
to,
bands can say that.
if you'd like to do a guest on the next album, he said yes, absolutely. Just work, contact me. I'll do it. So, but as for a switching schedule of vocalists on stage, I've never really thought of that. But it's an interesting idea.
Like well, that's, I mean, collaborations are something that we're a big fan of. We love.
Definitely.
We've seen so many, like it seems to be a returning. I don't want to say trend because I don't know if it's necessarily a trend at the moment, but
It's definitely
picking up a
increasing in
bit.
popularity again.
It
Yeah,
is,
I agree.
and we're even bigger fans of the duet style feature rather than this is their block in the song, like they just do the breakdown or they just do a verse or whatever. It's like the people kind of the back and forth call and response type stuff, the interweaving of it. We're massive fans of that. And it's
Yeah.
such a
Even cross
yeah.
genres when you had like, Bring Me the Horizon and Little Uzi Vert, I think it was that it? Yeah,
Yeah. like like Megan Thee Stallion
more.
with Spirit Box or whatever, and just
Yeah.
things like that. Really, like
Nails with Cavalera.
just like
Yeah.
opening the doors of just going. There's no fucking rules anymore. We'll just do whatever we fucking want. And yeah, we love to see that sort of making a bit of a comeback because I mean, we're fucking Kyle and I. We grew up in the '90s. We're big fans of like new metal, and obviously a lot
Yeah.
of what Korn was doing in collaborating with rappers through that time was something that had been seen in very rarely prior to that. You
Yeah.
obviously had like Aerosmith and Run DMC and Anthrax and
Public
Well, I
Enemy.
mean, you know
Public
what one
Enemy and
doesn't
that,
get brought up enough? Limp Bizkit and Method Man.
yeah, but I guess
You
so. I
know,
mean, Limp
like,
Bizkit was
you
much
know,
more rap focused than what
I
Korn
know,
was,
but
though. Like they were
still,
already,
it was a band with a rapper like Limp Bizkit and
yeah.
Method Man. You know, it's still a thing.
But yeah, so we're
But
stoked seeing that sort of making a
I
comeback
mean,
there.
metalheads, whether they like to admit it or not, we're a communal bunch. Like we love,
Yeah.
even when we in the case of Nails, they've obviously cited Sepultura as one of their biggest influences. And to get Max Cavalera to guest on one of their songs would have been huge. But like even bands that we have that we think we have, we'd like to hope we have equal footing with, or that we've looked up to or whatever. We just we reach out to them and be like, hey, like let's do a show together, or let's have you on our next album or something like that. Same thing where it's that sense of community that metalheads share. And I think because we do have that sort of underground status, there's not too much removal between performers, between musicians, and you don't have to feel too intimidated to invite people to collaborate with you.
Yeah, it's great.
No,
like
that's it.
It's the revival of that sort of thing is just makes me super happy.
Yeah,
it's just 'cause
especially now with the bedroom recordings,
and you can
it's
find
getting so good. You can just do it.
You can find lots of cool bands that way as well. You do a feature with the prevalence of the way social media is now. Like if someone does a feature on your track, they're going to be posting about it when it comes out, going, "Hey guys, check out this song I did with these guys." And then, hey, some of their fans are your fans, and then some of your fans are their fans, and it's such not so much a lost art, but it's a bit of a in the age where social media is king when it comes to and the content game is so important when it comes to music. It's a bit of a it does help. It's something that not a lot of people are taking advantage of.
Well, that's how that Connor Price made his career on Instagram. Like he was a rapper and he's like, how am I going to do this thing big? And he's really good at rapping. And he's like, okay, I'm going to spin a globe and I'm going to do this on Instagram. I'm going to spin a globe, pick a country, and I'm going to find a rapper with under 10,000 fans, and I'm going to do a collab with him, and I'm going to bring the song out, and we're going to do it together. And he made global like that. Next thing you know, he's got number ones all over the world because he's done songs with all these different rappers, and that's it.
Interesting concept, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great concept. It was great to watch. Like the whole thing was just like that shit will be studied one day as like marketing 101.
But I think it's just thinking outside the box, doing something that maybe not everyone's doing, but it's also pushing yourself and testing yourself as a creative individual, right? Like we had Van Lucia on not that long ago. He went, okay, yeah, I want to release a new song every 2 weeks for a year. Like that's
That's insane.
That's a lot. That's a lot of fucking work. That's 2 albums worth of music across the space of a year. Written, recorded, released, in every song, 2 weeks, bang, 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 bang. And it puts you to the test, you go, fuck, how am I gonna? And this is one of those things where you could just keeping the juices flowing helps as the longer you're doing it. That's why they say if you're trying to be a creative, you should write something every day. You should be doing write if you're a rapper and you want to come up with stuff, just write a line or
do that, yeah.
Or like just write 4 or 8 bars like every day minimum, just as long as you're doing something. It keeps those wheels turning, and it helps to stop you from stagnating. I mean, that's where I'm at, right? Like I've been got bands that are supposed to be doing stuff, and it's just taken so long for shit to happen, and it's just like when it's at the point now where doing anything feels like such a step, such a task, because you've got to essentially start all that machinery up again.
Oh yeah.
And so that's why I started talking to some people. I'm like, yo, let's just every 2 weeks on same day, same time, every 2 weeks, let's just do something. Let's get together and work on something together for whatever, You know, it doesn't matter what we're doing, as long as we're doing something to sort of keep the energy going, you know, and just keep the
It's almost
wheels
like going
turning.
to the gym. Yeah, they say even if you just step in there and just walk on the treadmill for half an hour, as long as you keep up the habit of going in there,
Yeah.
eventually you will start doing things properly.
Routine.
Yeah.
Routine.
100%. So, so I mean, you've got a few releases out, but when was the last one? Was that 2023?
23.
The Fell Tyrant 2023. Yes.
Yeah.
So we released that January of that year, and launched it on the same day of release, and yeah.
So where are you at in terms of? I mean, obviously with the move back to Australia, that's been will have taken a lot of your focus and everything there. But is there plans for like new recordings, new releases coming up anytime in the sort of near to medium term?
I guess I could say this. I have a whole album pretty much written. So we'll see how we go with that. None of it's been jammed or rehearsed yet, but all the music's been written. I mean, when you're in Berlin and trying to apply for jobs in between job applications and rejections,
Job market over there not very good.
Oh, that's a whole other story. But yeah, basically, got to write some new tunes, and then before you know it, 8-9 songs are written, and so we'll see what happens with that in the near future. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, you know, I mean, it's exciting to have that ready to go. You can, I suppose, it does mean that when you're ready, you can sort of just like bang, get them. You can start that process at any time, right? So that'll be really handy for you. Is there so what's the situation with like the other members of the band? Is that like you are Idle Ruin and the other people are just kind of whoever's playing with you, or do you have sort of people that are in the band?
Well, when I started the band, it was originally intended to just be a studio project, and like my partner and I had been planning on moving overseas, and I did sort of keep that in the radar in the sense of like, I'm the drummer vocalist. As long as I've got a bassist and a guitarist wherever I go, it's all good. So yes, I write all the music. I basically do everything, and Caleb, when he joined the guitarist, he also had his own project, and I helped him with his project. He helped me with my project. And then when I said, well, look, I want to do some shows with Idle Ruin, would you be interested? And he said, yes. Then we got Tim on bass as well. And they joined on sort of as live session members. But then when it came to the album, Tim basically said, look, I'll join the band on the condition that I can contribute to some writing. I said, done. The Fell Tyrant, one day Caleb just came to me out of the blue and said, I've written a song. I'm like, all right, let's hear it. And it was great. It basically sort of followed the style that I was going for. And I said, look, this is great. And so with the Fell Tyrant, we contributed songs to that equally. It was 3 songs from me, 3 songs from Tim, 3 songs from Caleb.
Okay.
But the first 2 EPs I'd written entirely. That was all by me. And then when I moved to Berlin, basically I got a new lineup, which was Eli on guitar and Bjarne on bass, and we also had a second guitarist for a short while, Renee. And you know, we didn't do any recordings. It was all just live stuff. And they were happy because they had their own bands as well. They were happy to just, you know, jump on and play the music and go back to their own bands when for writing and their whatever saw fit for them. So it was all good.
Cool. So with the return to Australia, have you kind of nailed down the plan for like the old boys coming back on board, or is it sort of that's not possible and you're looking at a new approach to it?
Well, Caleb, as soon as I told him that I was coming home, he was excited. He's just like, hell yeah, let's do this again. I'm like, oh, Absolutely. I just got to get my back on my feet first.
Mhm.
But no, there are plans, and he's basically like him and I are messaging each other pretty much almost every day, and he's saying, "Look, I've learned the old set again. Let's." I said, "All right, cool, man. I'm really
Wicked.
really happy about that." Tim, he's playing bass for Asylum, the thrash band Asylum at the moment, and unfortunately, he's throwing in the towel. He's done with music entirely. They're supporting Nervosa next. Now, by the time this episode comes out, the Nervosa show will have already been done. That will be his farewell. But I did offer to him if he wanted to return, but he's politely declined, and he's focusing on some other sort of life interests at the moment.
Cool.
So yeah, so I've contacted a few people if they want to play bass for us for the shows that we have coming up. Let that slip. And yeah, we should announce that officially in the future.
Cool.
Oh,
All
very
right.
cool.
So that's exciting. There's so some shows coming up again. So if you were a fan of Idle Ruin and you didn't get to see them before, or you haven't seen them in a while, now's the opportunity. Now's the
Are they
opportunity.
exclusive to Queensland for the moment?
Hang on, I'm just going to check my messages because I did ask the promoters if I could announce this on the show, and I haven't heard back yet. So
Okay.
but
Fair enough.
I
All
can.
right, we won't make you break any NDAs or anything.
But they should be announced very soon after this this podcast release. But basically, one will be in Brisbane and one will be in Sydney. That's all I can say.
Okay, cool. Well,
Sweet.
we will have links to all the socials in the description of the video. So if people want to jump on that, they can absolutely.
Do I need to send some messages out to some friends
absolutely.
in Sydney to see who's got it?
Yeah, Kyle will do some
Maybe.
digging. He'll try and work out who's got the show.
Maybe. Right.
So, obviously, sort of potential new music at some stage soonish, depending on various live things. Some live shows hopefully coming up pretty soon as well. Is the plan to, as you kind of get more settled back in Australia, is the plan to go like full force on Idle Ruin and just really try and get the juggernaut going again?
Potentially, yeah. So would love to get some more shows in the next year, and release another album. Hopefully, that would be really nice. But basically playing it cool for now, because obviously I've got a few other things that are taking priority at the moment. But playing it cool for now, do these shows, see how it goes. And hopefully get some new music out sooner rather than later.
Let's just talk about the album Fell Tyrant.
Yeah, sure.
For a little bit. Dude, it is such a big sound. How do you manage to actually keep that amount of intensity and do it all live? Like, because I really like how you do open up on the intricacy when the vocals calm down, but it's still very fucking intricate when you are singing too. Like, how?
Oh, well, have you seen us live before?
Pardon?
Have you seen us play live before?
No. When you play in Sydney, I'm definitely going to be there. I'm going to film it.
Well, a lot of that is thanks to Brendan Arnold, aka Pip. He's the guitarist of a band called Descent, and he's also plays in Resin Tomb and Snorlax as well. So, but he's played in a bunch of really really awesome extreme metal bands here in Australia. We basically said to him, we don't want to sound like a quote unquote new wave of thrash metal band. Because I mean, I love those bands, but I often feel a lot of those recordings,
they're dry.
a lot of sound gets sacrificed. Like I see them live and they sound, vicious and just in your face. And then I listen to them on an album. It sounds a little bit too subdued by comparison.
Yeah.
I said, mate, we don't want that. Please don't make us sound like, and like, again, not dissing these bands or anything, that's just not what we wanted. I basically turned to a lot of hardcore punk and death metal. And I said, look, the rawness and the ferocity is there. That's what we want. I showed him albums by Morbid Angel, early Creator, like the Pleasure to Kill album from 1986, which in my opinion is still one of the heaviest albums that's ever been released. And I said, look, we want that intensity. We want that absolute visceral savagery in our sound. And
wall of sound just hitting you.
It's like, yeah, done. So yeah, a lot of our influence sonically comes from punk and death metal more than it comes from thrash. And that's what we went with and what we rolled with.
Because it seems to be, it's beautiful and full.
Oh, thank you.
Nothing against thrash. I love thrash. Thrash is so prevalent in Australia.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's such a massive thing still.
Yeah.
However, too often than not, I see some really good thrash bands, and then when I try and listen to them on the Spotify, it just doesn't transfer.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's probably due to budget constraint, or I don't know what the case is, but
I don't know.
Yeah, we got to be trying, like, especially with the way compression rates are and stuff like that. It's you got to have a good ear to really try and write a full thing where it doesn't lose a lot when it gets squashed down again in the mix on Spotify and all these different platforms.
But the first two EPs that we did as well, Pip recorded those as well. Like he's been the sound guy we've always gone to for all our recordings.
Okay.
The first two, he's here in Brisbane.
Okay.
I think he recently moved to the Gold Coast. I need to catch up with him now that I'm back.
Oh.
But do you know the Cold Day in Brisbane festival? I think he organizes that.
Yeah, I'm in Sydney. Raff's in Queensland.
All right. But basically, we got him to record it. We told him what sound we were after, what snare sound, what guitar sound, what bass sound, what vocal sound we were after. Like, just played him all these recordings from Creator, Entombed, Morbid Angel, that kind of stuff. And then we got Joel Grind from Toxic Holocaust to master the two EPs. He was unfortunately unavailable to do the album, so we got Dav Byrne, who did Shatterbrain.
Okay.
He did Shatterbrain's album, so he's from Adelaide, and he was fantastic.
Oh man, I agree. Look, the mix on it's amazing.
And
the mix on it's amazing. It's a pleasure to listen to.
Thanks, man. Thank you. And so the album artwork is. So like I said, the Fell Tyrant is reference to when Brisbane used to be a prison colony. And it was run by a commandant named Patrick Logan, who was quite notably barbaric towards the prisoners. I mean, if all the prisoners were sent to Botany Bay, all the worst convicts were sent to Moreton Bay, which later became Brisbane. And the prisoners basically did whatever they like. Sorry, hang on. The prison settlement people, they did basically whatever they want. Thank you. The guards and the orderlies did whatever they wanted to the prisoners, and there was a lot of corruption as well. And so he got murdered. Patrick Logan, the commandant, he went on a horseback ride down to where Mount Lindsay currently is. Got murdered by Indigenous Australians. Got put into a shallow grave. The front cover is him entering hell with the souls of the prisoners that he tortured coming after him.
So like that. This is the thing though. Like those, that's a amazing story to go with that. To go with that artwork. It's the thing is like you look back at a lot of there was a lot of absolutely messed up stuff that was taking place during that time, the way that a lot of the convicts were treated. I actually have a familial connection to stuff like that. Like I am, my not only are my ancestors, did they come over on the First Fleet, but other parts of my family history that were actually tied into those same people. So like descended from those people who later became like guards or like managing some of the prison facilities in early sort of what would become Sydney.
So
as
you're
it
on
developed.
both ends. You were
I'm
you
on
were
both
on
ends of it,
the
unfortunately, and one of them
wow.
Was essentially the head warden at, or like head warden or whatever the top sort of position was at one of the prison facilities in Sydney, and
For real?
was basically like this is sort of after the initial sort of convict era, necessarily, but they were still, shipping a lot of people over at that point. But the people that lived nearby, the prison, were essentially complaining because of the noise from all of the torture of the prisoners. So rather than a bit like how the Catholic Church does, rather than actually punish the guy, they shipped him off to Southwest Rocks, essentially the area that's now Southwest
Oh,
Rocks kind
wow.
of region, and the bay that was there. That there was a breakwater they kept trying to build over across the bay that was being done with convict labor or prison labor, and it kept like getting washed away in storms because it would just get messed up. But like, yeah, they kind of put him in charge of the prison facility up there.
Just sent them all to their
Now,
deaths.
if because they wanted to kind of sweep it under the rug a bit, but
Yeah.
it was just so funny because like I knew I had the familial connection to the convict side, but then when I happened to be visiting a friend in Southwest Rocks, she's like, "Oh, we should go up and do a tour of the old jail up there." Went up there and they got all the historical stuff, and I saw the surname was the same as the convict surname that I was attached to, and I'm like, I wonder if that's the same, thing. And then there's actually a book on like this first several generations of that the family in Australia, and sure enough, same family, part of the whole thing. But yeah, it's the treatment of and I mean, I suppose it's something that really carries on to this day, right? Like people that are in prison can often be treated very, very poorly by those that are
Yeah.
meant to be there to guard them. And while prison obviously exists for a reason, that doesn't mean that that the people that are in there can be subject to any sort of the complete unpredictable and brutal whims of those that are meant to be sort of guarding them. So
Yeah.
it's the kind of story, I guess, that really carries forward through even into modern day, which is
tale as old as time, isn't it?
mm.
Prisoners getting tortured and harassed, and
And I guess that leads into all sorts of other discussions around like, those in power versus the disenfranchised, and those that they've got power, they hold power over, and all sorts of stuff that we really don't have time to get into on a podcast like this.
Talk about it for days, absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, like I love when the fact that you've got
it's like a concept
stories that
album,
can go
isn't
back.
it?
It's not a concept album, but just my love of local history.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not the best lyricist, so I write about the things that I love. And I mean, a lot of bands that'll sing about Greek history or Roman history or even British Empire or anything like that. I was like, well, we've got plenty of stories in our own backyard. Why not tell them? So
We do, and that's something that maybe is a bit of an underserved sort of space there. I don't think there's too many.
Well, that was like where I grew up in Greystone. So they got a place called Pemaway, and that was a Aboriginal warlord. And homeboy was out there just like slaying people left, right, and center. And you read up on it, and you're just like, that is like, okay, it wasn't cool, but that's pretty badass. Like,
Yeah.
Like when you think about it, like that's
But
like
there's-
Genghis Khan shit. It's like, yeah,
Well, there's so many elements of Australian history that we just don't.
Send me the link to
We
that.
just
That
aren't
actually
thought
sounds
about.
fascinating.
yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I will.
So that's yeah, I like that though. I'm gonna be going back and listening to the stuff, trying to go like, okay, you're trying to like
I'm just
see what I
looking at
can
the
learn
song
from
names,
it. You know?
and you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, it makes sense now. And just even when you look at the song names, it's like, okay, yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, no, that's super super cool. Is that sort of the same with the newer stuff that you've got for a potential next album? Is that
Oh, there'll
centered
be some more
around,
stories. There'll be some
nice.
more stories being told. So yeah, definitely.
Nice.
Can't
Well,
stop that.
Look, hey, when it's
That's
when it's
awesome.
eventually ready, you'll have to come back on and sort of talk to us about them and
Oh,
give us a bit of a
absolutely.
rundown of what stories are going to be in there and what people can expect from it.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure chatting with you guys and would love to do it again.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Look, that's we'll wrap the podcast there for now. But don't fret, we do
Yeah.
have quick question quarter and get in the bin coming on the weekend, so you get plenty more of our chat with Liam here. Now, if you want to keep up with everything Idle Ruin is doing, we will have all the links to the socials down in the descriptions there. What's your most sort of prevalent socials? What's generally the best one for people to keep up with?
Probably our Instagram is the one that we are most prolific on. We do use Facebook and YouTube, but Instagram seems to be the one that we get the most return on, and
Cool.
we post the most on. So
Awesome. Well, that's
and all the handles are Idle Ruin. So that's pretty
perfect.
easy to remember.
Hey, that's great that you were able to get that. Sometimes you got to end up with stuff that's all slightly different for each one, which gets a little bit confusing. But no, that's awesome. We'll have links to them all down in the description there anyway, as well as links to the Spotify and whatever other stuff you've sent through for us there. But look, thank you so much, Liam, for chatting with us today. If you've been watching into the episode this far, make sure you go and check out Idle Ruin on Spotify or your streaming platform of choice. Make sure you give them spin plenty of stuff.
Yes.
There's some great music, some really, really heavy tunes and
It
riffs
is,
there.
it is.
And hey, always impressive for a drummer to be doing vocals as well. So got to show some love for that. And but yeah, if you enjoyed today's episode, please give us a thumbs up there. If you didn't, downvote the shit out of it. I have been Raff. He has been the beer buddy Kyle, along with Liam from Idle Ruin. Thank you very much for watching or listening this far, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Cheers.
Stay
Get
cool.
the Fosters in here.
Get a Foster's in here.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We really hope you had a good time. If you did, please consider hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell down there. It helps the channel grow. We are still a fairly young channel and we like to try and grow our audience all over the world. We do also, for those of you who are interested, have a Patreon. It's just a couple of bucks a month. At the moment, you get all the videos early and ad-free, but we are working on ways to increase the value of that and make it a bit more enticing. So don't forget to keep an eye out and check back on what's going on over there. Other than that, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.